hands here for FlyQuest, or focus on Zig as well. You know, you can either focus one, top or bottom, but some differentiation does need to occur here for FlyQuest.
And right now, we're going to expect a little bit of the same bans here.
Yeah.
Come through. I feel like that
as much as you didn't want to expect it.
But the Kennen is because they want to play a tank top laner for FlyQuest, so take away something that destroys the tanks, and you'll have a better time there. But yeah, I feel like Phoenix1 will just go with the Shen, Rengar, and Camille again. And this is a Graves instead of a Kha'Zix ban here from FlyQuest.
So this signals to me that FlyQuest want to have Moon on a bit more proactive of a jungler to actually bring maybe some CC to the early skirmishes and really equip them to get off a snowballing strategy here, because that's where FlyQuest usually finds a lot of their success. It's with punchy, quick moves early in the game, and then catching people off guard with objectives.
Usually started by Moon as well, so at least is something he can go towards. Hasn't had too much success now. That's so interesting. They take away the Ashe instead of the Camille. Camille is a champion that we've seen Balls play once and not have great success on it, but Zig hasn't played it all, so I feel like it going unbanned is good.
Lulu's still unbanned here. Either team could trade Lulu for Karma, though, so that does drop a little bit of value of the first pick, and that's why FlyQuest going with the Ivern instead of that. Phoenix1, though, will be very happy to take that trade.
Yeah, feel like you go Lulu and you lock in a jungler here unless you have a priority AD carry in mind. And they actually want to take that away, make sure that Balls doesn't get his hands on the Rumble.
Exactly. Once again, because you talk about forcing them, to play this tank or to take out some of the good matchups into the tanks there with the Kennen ban, Zig is very happy to play this Rumble again.
I feel like they're calling Balls out a little bit here because you're blind picking the Rumble. There are some things you can play into it, like Jace, you can play Renekton, you can have a good time. But they're saying Balls just going to play a tank and we're going to win top lane. Doesn't matter if we blind pick it.
I think that, maybe FlyQuest have not practiced this, but something that could fulfill both roles that FlyQuest are looking for would be a Mundo for the top lane. Then you get your tank, but also a good matchup into Rumble specifically. If you haven't put time in on the game, though, and you're not ready with it, then that might be something that they're not capable of. As I said, though, the trade for the Lulu is going to be the Karma, provides very similar things. As expected, the Kog'Maw is going to come here for FlyQuest, so basically just yoink, your strategy is now my strategy, you made this, I made this.
Yeah, now they have all the shields, they have the Lemonnation, Karma support, one of his favorites. But then the Kog'Maw for Altec, this is super cool to me because Altec has actually been performing pretty consistently. Even in their losses against TSM, he was doing well in the laning phase. So exactly, and they were able to pick up some kills there. So this may be FlyQuest saying, all right, Altec has been playing well. Let's give him a little bit more credit and give him something he can carry on.
And I think this was actually quite well thought out from FlyQuest. A lot of people, after you lose game one, they'll be like, why are you going back to blue side? You're not changing
I'm one of them. Why are you doing that?
However, they put a lot of forethought into it. Banning out the Graves instead of the Kha'Zix, because Graves is much better against Ivern than Kha'Zix is specifically. And there are definitely, I like the changes that they've gone for. We'll see how they follow it up in phase number 2, though, as more of those mid lane bans have come through. The Orianna we talked about being most played for both those guys, and the Fizz is for both top and mid lane. We've seen all of these guys use the champion.
Exactly. Good for you up to play a Syndra here and not have to worry about the Fizz. You would still have to worry about the Echo, but I feel like you wait for that mid lane counter pick and go with an AD carry here because you already know what you're playing up against in that bottom lane. And actually, another thing to kind of throw in here is we've seen Karma flexed around a lot now. Can play the mid lane, so it could possibly be a Karma mid here.
Jhin, not one of the best synergies with Lulu, but will be the choice here for Arrow for the lane versus the Kog'Maw. And again, Balls onto that tank. Going to go into the same matchup. Now, one of the reasons that it got so poor for FlyQuest was a big part of the early invade and all those kills going over super early. Now, this time around, Zig probably as well will have the pushing priority, but FlyQuest do get the roaming threat for high here with that Talon that they do prioritize.
1 minute now for the teams. Switch it around, figure out what they want to run in each lane. Ryu picking up the Syndra this time versus FlyEye's Talon. Jungler intervention coming from a Kha'Zix on the side of P1. And finally, Ivern picked up on the side of FlyQuest here just to trade in those champions, but also the separation of the Kog'Maw and the Lulu. We see the importance of that coming into this series altogether.
Yeah, a lot less crowd control this time around for Phoenix1 on their side, so especially reuse Syndra and landing those pass-through stuns does become very important. You want to set up things like Rumble to be able to get a lot of mileage out of those ultimates.
And looking at the two compositions, FlyQuest is about protection for Altec, but also roaming for high. And then you look at what P1 have, it's pretty much pick across the board here. You want to find somebody out of position, you can get them with a Jhin ultimate, lay down a Rumble ultimate to start those fights off. You want those long-range picks where you can blow somebody up.
Exactly. Rumble Ultimate and Syndra Stun are two of the best tools that you can use against a low mobility AD carry like Kog'Maw to try and keep him in place. That being said, it is going to require a better execution here from Phoenix1 to pull off this composition than in game number 1.
All right, we are locked and loaded as we get ready to head into game 2, running down the rift and seeing the matchups. It will be up to FlyQuest now to strike back against Phoenix1 to even things up. Phoenix1 now with the momentum, with Inori doing very well in his hometown. Are going to use that advantage here to fire off in game 2 and try to come out swinging once again in the early game.
And I definitely would put that spotlight on Inori here
Absolutely.
for the early game. He's on his Kha'Zix now. Yes, he diversified and he played more team-oriented junglers like Ivern, but this is, where he's really at home, looking for those kills, the isolated, invades, 1v1s, and we'll see if he can get them.
Definitely riskier as well. I mean, it is his bread and butter, but last game when he played that Ivern, he only missed out on 1 kill participation, highest in the whole game for himself. 3-0 and 10, did work on it, and now he's going to be very conscious of what he's capable of doing, especially against a team that has a lot of shields.
Also, we'll see Moon's take on the early Ivern route, because you don't have to go for the power farming, and you can throw a lot of curveballs with the versatility of this champion as far as the way they can start. The other thing is you have to be fairly careful with the limited vision where you're going early on as well. Kha'Zix waiting in a brush is very difficult for Ivern to get away from if you're overconfident in looking to steal away camps.
And we're talking a whole bunch about that jungle because that's going to actually dictate a lot of what's going to happen around this mid lane, because this is a very volatile mid lane. Somebody gets a kill, they're getting that item break point a little bit sooner, and then boom, that whole lane could be quote unquote over in a lot of people's opinion, where it's like, oh, he's just going to show up in lane and get killed. Where the Talon, once he hits a break point where he's able to W one time and clear the caster minions, he ends up roaming so quickly, and that gets high freed up on the map. So this mid lane is incredibly volatile, and if you can get somebody freed up for your team, then you're in a really good spot to control the map.
Yeah, Ryu running his barrier, high exhaust, so they can play a little bit of the bait game if High's not roaming around too much outside the lane once he starts clearing, as you said. Corrupting Potion for him. Some Doran's Ring and some Biscuits for Ryu to start the lane. Nothing really off here. Zig is going to go for that Tomb and the Potion.
Yeah, the exhaust is interesting for a mid lane because so many mid laners have dropped using the spell after the nerfs that came through to it. However, versus Syndra, it's extremely good because you can reactively use it. As soon as you see the first ball for the ultimate lift off the ground, you can pop down the exhaust and you'll get that damage reduction for her ultimate. Talon is a lot about going for the all-in and surviving the counter damage basically that Syndra's going to throw off as she is going down.
Good bit of trade here in the bottom lane. Lemonnation has forced Shady to use that first ward. Close, balls low. Oh, one more turret shot would have been Zig going down, but he takes control of the lane.
That's when you miss the days of Ignite top laners. Everybody taking teleports for a very long time. It means you lose out a little bit of that threat. Balls does walk away, doesn't burn the flash, there's no extra surprise damage going to come through. This is a little bit more scary than the first time around for him, though.
And also, Zig didn't get greedy. Could have possibly gone for a flash auto attack to try and finish him off, but decides, I've already won the lane, and he's going to just heal up, and we'll be fine.
A little bit more, 33-37 this game for P1.
We're looking for the comeback already.
There it is.
I mean, there's so much veteran power on FlyQuest. A lot of these guys are incredibly popular. I mean, High talked about retiring after he won Challenger, and he's still being competitive, and that's why people love him so much.
That, as well as the play style. Not to mention the surprise picks, the Mordekaisers and Shakos and things that they use, but the never say die attitude of the team and the gutsiness, the willingness of High to go for low risk, or I mean, low percentage plays, high risk. Here we go, though. Jungler's first interaction as Inori, only half health, going to have to cede control of the river over to Moon, who should be able to clear out that ward. Yep.
Speaking to that story as well, a lot of respect to be given to both of these teams for kind of where they've come with the creation of new members. We see a lot of new members being brought onto teams and not playing out, but both of these able to get into that top 6 right away.
Yeah, definitely.
Changed.
Phoenix1, even though they have had probably the most success of bringing in the import slots for their team after this super hyped up split of imports all around, the other teams not finding nearly as much success. Arrow, Ryu fitting in very well here with the squad.
And then you go into P1's kind of mid-season drama where they had subs back and forth in support and jungle. Now they finally said, these are the two guys that we're going to be running right now. These are who we're going to stick with. And that sets them up for summer moving forward. And if they get the championship points here, you're potentially looking at a team, if they make the finals next split, that they may qualify on points.
So here we go. Mid laner and jungler working together as High pushes Ryu in. Moon has the confidence to channel. You can just channel right in front of the enemy. Your smite will guarantee that you win this fight. It's not even fair. And he is able to steal away those all-important Raptors and the extra experience.
And you look at what he did there. He's like, all right, it's about 4 minutes and 25 seconds. Let's just start heading over there when the second round of Raptors comes up.
So, yeah, the respawn time depends on how quickly you clear the camp. All of the small camps will respawn 1 minute and 40 seconds later. And generally, the Graves and the Kha'Zix are the two of the quicker clearing on the Raptor camps. You got to get there a little bit earlier.
Yeah, it's kind of like Graves, Kha'Zix, Elise, Rengar. You pretty much expect them to start on those Raptors with Elise from their mid laner, and so you can predict their next few minutes, and especially when they come back to those Raptors. Everybody wants to do them for that EXP boost.
Yeah, that's really the only small camp that you do time. A lot of the other ones not cared about as much, as this has been the season of Raptors.
Ooh. Might be a mismatch back here. Lemonnation low on mana. Altec actually went for the Vampiric Scepter and a Longsword and then said, I just want the Cutlass, no potions to go back to lane. So if anything happens, luckily P1's backing, so he'll have free time to actually just farm this up and possibly go back and get those items.
Yeah, definitely good news for FlyQuest this time around. Their bottom lane doing much better. Altec does get that early back for the Cutlass, but here comes the Serrated Dirk from Arrow, and you do have to respect the upfront lethality here.
Yeah, one of the reasons we haven't seen a lot of Jhin is he got nerfed in some of the slows and duration on his ultimate, but then you also look at Deathfire Touch nerf, and the fact that he doesn't build that pretty much OP item that people are going for in the Blade of the Ruined King. Does have the Warlords now, though, for some sustain, and it's total AD since 7.6, and Jhin has a lot of that, so he'll be healing for a decent amount, and you can kind of control it with that third shot to get you your 4.
High Moon, classic combo.
Got those autos at range from his brush. Throws out Daisy into the brush, though. They are going to be able to figure out what's going down, and the teleport is stopped from Zig.
Yeah, it's
interesting
that FlyQuest make the call to just take the teleport advantage rather than answer and look for a completed kill onto Ryu. Didn't even go for
there it is, though.
Flash resolve. That's a kill for somebody. They're just waiting, and they say, let's put it on a platter for High.
Patience, my friend. Lemonnation with the classic roam up mid here. Able to get that one. Ignite and Flash were both used, so bottom lane should be notified, but definitely well worth it for FlyQuest.
Exactly. Great from Lemon to actually show up and use the summoners here to get onto Ryu, because now there's an advantage for High, a big one as well.
And by the way, look at the mini-map. He walked through that ward in the river, roamed straight up through it, and then even afterwards, ping goes down on that ward from Phoenix1.
Gotta pay a bit of attention to that. Now High will have flash advantage. He has a Storm Raider Surge, so once he does burst, he's able to stick on you. And so High does have to actually kind of push that advantage for himself, or at least threaten. Continue to clear out minions, go for the side lanes.
I mean, that's what we saw P1 do last game. They continued to just push what happened to balls in the top lane, and then it just came into Ryu's lane. See if FlyQuest has the same results.
So I went back, rewinded to look at the path that Lemon took, and actually came just around a small corner, so there was only a glimpse of him. He didn't come up through the river from bottom lane. His roam was from their own jungle, so that's why it caught Ryu off guard. It might not have even stepped into the vision.
You didn't even see him.
Tiny corner there.
Yeah.
So well done there by Lemon. You always want to hug the walls around that mid lane just in case, because ward placement in the pixel brush, you can only get one of the sides there and not full coverage.
Yeah, it was a big false sense of security as well, because it looked like he would have vision coverage of that corner, but not quite.
That's why the ping came down afterwards.
Yeah, like, what is this ward doing?
Anyways, sneaky FlyQuest off to a very good start for themselves and gaining that first blood. This time around, also, they feel even more confident for the late game as well. So they have that insurance policy, and we'll see if they can keep it rolling. High, the beneficiary of that first blood, trying to exert his will in the mid lane and bring a lot of extra friends.
Wow, and the fact that Balls roams through the lane. They see him on that. They're trying to actually go for a pincer maneuver here onto Ryu, and he's just sitting in his tier 2.
And one of the biggest things about Ivern is the early power of Daisy is insane with taking down turrets here. Can tank them very well, even though Ryu's able to pick them up and throw them out. Huge amount of damage done to that turret, as well as a lot of minions missed by the Syndra. And Balls will take a little bit of damage returning to lane.
Yeah, he missed a few minions himself, but was able to provide pressure onto that mid. It's half HP already, and if you open that up, hold on, Zik though, he's getting collapsed on. Ivern from the left.
Bit of a long roam, if you will. Zik spending too much time in the river. And we'll see if Fly can close down onto this one. Very low in HP, but the shields are there to help him with the spread of Ryu. And Inori may try to capitalize back onto this. They have the vision, but they don't have anything past high, really, so they don't know what else is in the fog of war.
Yeah, completely opposite to game number 1 here. FlyQuest gaining advantages across the board here. These are summonerless, flashless solo laners. Even though the teleport there is still available for Zig, these are very vulnerable targets. You know, he doesn't have Zhonya's to activate on turret or anything. Rumble is diveable. Syndra is also a very prime target, as we've seen the focus from FlyQuest over and over.
And it's interesting as well that Ryu, for his item build, decided not to pick up any boots or anything like that. Goes for no armor either. It goes for HP here immediately with the Haunted Guys. So a little bit for the matchup, but not as much as you would think like a Seeker's Arm Guard would give him in terms of defensive properties.
Actually got that timed with Zig, so if they decide to do a bit of a power spike, they would be able to. His teleport's back up from being used in mid since it wasn't full. We will see. His lane is pushed. Zig may have a move to make.
Yeah, what you also want to do for FlyQuest, now that you have this mid control, you need to jump on it, and they're trying to get deeper wards. The thing is, Phoenix1 are doing a good job of keeping up their defensive vision. So every time FlyQuest move in for these roams, Phoenix1 are able to retreat. They don't give up deaths. They do only lose a few minions instead.
Yeah, and you can even see High just goes back and forth to make sure that he picks them up. And you basically have a timer. When you roam, how long is it going to take for the guy to push that minion back at you? And High is there actually in time to pick up all of them.
Yeah, the Moby boots, very important for Talon, as well as being able to parkour around.
And now he's going to go topside. So what he's going to do is push mid, realize Ryu isn't there. Now he's going to clear a ward. He's potentially looking for threatening the top side of the map.
The defensive vision does have a cost associated with it as well. So even though you will congratulate Phoenix1 on being able to ward for this, it is taking its toll.
Could be a roam here from High as he'll have the lane to himself for a second. Looks like the pings are towards the bot side. They want to get the wards cleared that they know P1 has pressured in. They know they're trying to get that snowball off of once again. It's working their advantages.
Yeah, it's very easy for Moon to go jump to a lane with this Ivern. Daisy is ready, and they could try and push something down. So Phoenix1 have made the early adaptation to sneak through the brushes here on the top side.
Ooh, doesn't land the root.
Curtain call comes down. If you were going to miss, gives Balls a bit more distance to safety.
So that was great planning, but poor execution there, because if you wait for the Rumble to start it out, Zik can land an equalizer. Even if Nautilus flashed or something, he'll still be slowed afterwards, and then you can hit the roof.
That was so close. Literally a second between the two turret takes there, but it is FlyQuest that get first turret gold.
Yeah, very good idea there from Phoenix1. Definitely going to...
They're going to keep pushing both
them,
sides. This is chicken right now.
Oh, we haven't seen this in quite some
Zero
time.
backs.
Ball's not
Nobody's
going to be able to
backing.
do much. Daisy's going to give him time, then the minions. So the waves are definitely in the favor of FlyQuest here. Where's the attack speed, though? You're not going to get it that much from Arrow. He's got to stop to reload. It might be in P1's favor.
Daisy saves. Oh, here we go.
FlyQuest's favor. P1 trying to get the fight. FlyQuest under the turret now. Balls can't get over the wall. He tries to get close to it. That's also going to be a kill to the turret. High looking very low. Lives for the sliver of out. The last shot comes in, and they're able to take him down. Double kills across the board. And here's FlyQuest doing what they do best, making the calls around the fights, and now they're in the base. 13 minutes into the game.
Pushing wars versus Daisy do not go well. Daisy can save your minion wave for so long, and FlyQuest got to build up a gigantic one all the way, cracking this inhibitor turret, and Phoenix1 never even got tier 2.
You're looking at somebody who has attack speed on the Kog'Maw, and you're up against somebody who has a Jhin. You're definitely taking turrets way faster than them. The Daisy helps, and just, oh my god. High showing up, help clear the minion wave too, and that is big.
You can tell that Phoenix1 are feeling the pressure here, mounting in the early game. And FlyQuest, we will see how well they're able to push this lead. It is one of the things that they've done very, very well through the regular season.
Yeah, another root doesn't land there, and then the ultimate from High does some damage to those minions, and so they all get dropped. But look at that, Inori goes for the dive. They're just trying to pick up kills, and High rotated, and Ryu, I feel like, didn't answer appropriately in this situation, and they got a lot off of that.
These are the types of calls that we talk about from High. They opt into the 2 versus 4 defense, knowing that they're going to die. He's very okay with sacrificing his life for a better push on the bottom side. The rest of the team is going to get a lot more objectives out of it, and they're going to be able to take down some P1 members with them as they do it.
And you also risk your mid lane turret going down. There's potential for that. There's a lot of damage that comes through on it, but it's a Syndra. All you give up is a CS advantage and a little bit of a level advantage there to Ryu.
Now we'll keep our eyes on how FlyQuest can keep up the tempo. As we said, this is one of the things that they have been very successful with. And utilized to get very early Barons in the game as well. One of the reasons we're not seeing them jump on the early Drakes so far has been that the value of the early turret gold and the extra room to work with much higher than the simple Cloud Drake, but this is something that they could very easily drop right back to. A lot of deep vision in the blue quadrant as well.
And this is a game that just has worked out for FlyQuest, where High can have a much clearer mind to make these calls. 0-3-0 start to last game to a 3-1. He has all the kills in the game because the team is actually setting those up for him, and then the calls are coming through much cleaner that they can cooperate with. FlyQuest doing well so far. P1 definitely still in this if FlyQuest make those mistakes.
Yeah, you can see how experienced High is in that split push role.
Yeah.
They rotate into the 1-3-1. This is a very safe 3-man squad in the mid lane with the speed boost and the defensive shields here of the Ivern and the Karma, and they're able to hold very well while the 2 side lanes are pushing for FlyQuest.
And the fact that High is 3-1-0, has an item and a half coming through for him, he puts him in a really good spot because Ryu doesn't have a completed item aside from the boots. And also, the items that you have as High, he actually has 155 bonus movement speed outside of combat. He is so fast, 475 movement speed on the Talon, that even if somebody starts running towards him, he'll be able to hop a wall, get out of combat, and just run away, and he can't be caught.
Ryu kind of feeling the same pressure High did last game on that Syndra. Being behind does not allow you to delete the members of FlyQuest as fast as you want. Altec to hold mid. The team seems happy to be able to spread their power out and not be taken off guard by P1 here.
Zig doing his best to clear the river here, but so much of FlyQuest warding has transitioned up into that red quadrant. And the Altec flash has been forced here in the mid lane.
Amount of reach P1 has to start these actually makes FlyQuest maybe think twice about spreading each other so far. It's not as safe as they think. And we see the ultimates coming out very fast for P1 whenever they can get themselves back into this game. They are ready to pull the trigger. Ryu as well to the side lanes to start clearing things up. He's getting a pretty good CS lead on High for things that didn't happen in lane. He's trying to make up for it.
Yeah, FlyQuest, the turret is in their eyes, but as well the retreat back to the Drake is definitely a very big option for them. Here comes the flank. Balls on the top side, you can see. Looking for this point click.
It's the 1-3-1 into the collapse for 5 to try and get a brief, swift moment on that turret. You maybe pick somebody else in rotation.
Definitely worth, taking this Drake down for FlyQuest just to get them churning and get more of them respawning. But they keep up the pressure mid, and they have no eyes for the Drake.
It's like, nah, it's Cloud Drake, just leave it. High already has like huge diminishing returns and out of combat movement speed already. Doesn't need any more.
He can always go faster.
But yeah, they'll pick it up in a second. They're about to go for it.
He'll have the bot lane push that has to be respected by P1, so they'll start to spend someone bottom here. And Balls has pretty much been able to keep Zig top. P1 hasn't been able to put the forward wards they were last time for any teleports for Zig. It's always FlyQuest's portion of the map. Wherever they're moving, they own it. And it's been allowing them to control this game much, much better. Just 15 minutes from now, basically, last game, it was won by P1, so we are in a much different course of action here. 3,000 gold lead just about here for FlyQuest as Moon starts to have a little fun inside P1's jungle.
It's actually super rare that you see an Ivern counter jungling by just waiting around for it to complete.
What?
Almost always, almost always pre-20 minutes. You're only counter jungling if you have Smite up for the instant steal. But that's just how much control they have on that bottom side. High going for the roam.
Yeah, speaking of counter jungling, trying to catch Zig with his hand in the cookie jar, but he gets away with the blue buff.
Bad. Inori is going to be able to secure theirs as well. Nice guy and hold it for Ryu, maybe? Nope, never mind.
Nope. That door is closed. He's too far away.
Support items starting to snowball very well for FlyQuest here as well. The Redemption plus Locket is a huge, massive teamfight spike for them, and they're very close to it. Daisy comes down.
A little dangerous. High gets locked up. Captive audience keeps him in range, but he is safe for the time being. Summoner spells across the board are up for this fight. Looking at Altec's flash as basically the only thing down.
Yeah, that's why he didn't want to walk too far forward to go for that turret damage, because he could be caught out there. The Rumble ultimate on top of him means he's got to waddle his way out and get a shield.
They are showing a very healthy amount of respect for the damage that Phoenix1 can put out, so with this composition. Remember, they do have a lot of AoE 2-layer. Still have to watch out for those stuns. Altec does not have a QSS and is not going for an early QSS like we saw Arrow go for last time. And there's that stun.
Oh, Moon. Ryu gets locked in, has enough for the ultimate. The Redemption comes down. Moon was going to stay alive anyways, but a little healthier to participate in the fight now as they still have 2 turrets in mid. P1 tries their hand at an engage.
And FlyQuest make the call to keep high split pushing. Now he's coming around for the flank behind them, so Phoenix1 have to be very careful.
But it's a potential flank, right? He feints like he's going to go do it, so they back off. Now he's on that turret alone on top, and they can push out mid-wave a little bit, or at least make sure that their mid-turret doesn't take a whole lot of damage.
Meanwhile, Phoenix1 are not just sitting there. I mean, they've got bottom lane pushing as well. Ryu goes for the recall to try and join the rest of the team, and balls will rotate down to the bottom side. So FlyQuest chipping away here. 4 turrets to 1 for themselves, getting a lot of territory.
And not a lot of it has been fights, the way we usually see him do it. Pick one off, get the guy low health, P1 will make it out alive, but you're going to lose a turret. You're going to lose more of the map, and FlyQuest will start to suffocate the entire thing.
The Locket coming through is very big for their team fight, and the Infernal Drake that's coming up next will be very explosive here. If they are able to get that one, definitely securing a lot of that power. The Locket is so good with Redemption just because not only do they does it get the bonus for the shielding, but also you get your early stop to any panic damage that's coming through and wait for the Redemption to fall down. Gives you that confidence that you can stay in the area long enough for the extra heal, and it's just so much area control.
Yeah, that little buffer of time so you can wait for it. Right now, we're almost at the point where we have a 2-item Kog'Maw. Altec is getting up there right now. He's about 500 gold up over Arrow. It's not much. Most of his lead's in that mid, but Shady. This mid turret's super low, and they're going to start going for a siege here.
Daisy is ready. They can just pop the Daisy, lay down some more brush, and a little bit of flanking here from Zig, though. They still are very worried about the combo. Rumble Ultimate plus Syndra stun.
Yeah, and immediately you see FlyQuest. They push, and then they go back to their lanes. High up to the top side, so they're kind of trying to run P1 around the map here and play with the vision a bit because they have control of the river for about 3/4 of it here, or even the entire river, I would say now, for FlyQuest.
Yeah, I would definitely expect some sort of answer to that stun to come out for Altec, whether it be the QSS, you know, or Mikhail's or whatnot for FlyQuest side, and they do not want to risk it until they're sure their Kog'Maw will survive.
Interesting here from Lemonnation. He goes for an Ardent Sensor build first, as opposed to going for the Redemption. He has an Ivern on his team, so kind of taking care of that third support item you really want to protect the Kog'Maw composition before he starts going for those items like the Redemption.
It's really nice. It feels super good as well. Altec will be able to get a little bit better positioning and helps him kind of delay his build to, like we're saying, that Quicksilver Sash. May not make it any more safer depending on how P1 play it, but he'll have a bit more HP in these fights getting it back.
Now it's 5 turrets to 1, and you can see P1 trying to go for a desperation engage. I don't think this will work. Zig is too far away.
Interesting. It was also by Zig coming up. Could have been the equalizer to throw it down right in front of the turret. Yeah. Curtain called down now. That's a lot of pressure, and High to like throw it around in the jungle.
Oh, that's the stun down. And he's running away because Inori is nearby. That's a fast Talon.
Yeah, they're happy with the upper hand in every situation.
Yeah, low mana on Ryu as well. So the slowly mounting pressure here from FlyQuest, getting them some more territory. And that Infernal Drake that I mentioned before is coming up in 45 seconds. The vision set up for FlyQuest now that mid-turret is down is incredibly trivial. And they should be able to line up a lot of security here for themselves in the blue quadrant.
And because Zig went up to try and get a possible flank off of the ultimate of Arrow, that means bottom lane completely free for Balls to continue pushing. FlyQuest disengage, Balls gets priority here, and now they have control of the spot side jungle. And look at that. High, looking for Zig.
For the bleed.
Bit of an ouchie. He's going to have Scrap Shield to come back up, give the team the equalizer, but he has to be careful about the re-engage. Depth charge can go through the entire team. I don't know if FlyQuest wants it as they start to back off. Lemmonnation's a bit too far away.
Yeah, all they need is that chunk. Now they can go for the Infernal Drake. Unless Zig teleports in, I don't see Phoenix1 actually looking for any sort of contest here. They've been chunked out and they're battered here, so FlyQuest in a very secure spot.
Once they're done with this, top lane will be ready to be pushed again. P1 should shove that out a bit, so they'll have ways to clear. Just things are falling into place for FlyQuest. After this dragon, they'll have somewhere to go. Bot lane's pushing, so they don't have to worry about it. And time to back if they need it here. They're setting things up very nicely. I feel like this is a way that they do or are able to beat teams when P1 gets to the late game and they haven't gotten their items or the fights they want. It's hard to strategize like the team running around you.
Yeah, good answer here from FlyQuest. So many people critical of them saying, oh, they can only use these surprise, cheesy picks to get victories. But very slow, methodical, planned move here from FlyQuest. And very good execution as well, looking to even up this series 1-1.
I think that's a big lesson for FlyQuest on this split. Like, there were some conversations with High where it's like, maybe we tried to experiment a little too hard in the middle of the season too soon, right? And so they almost lost their position in playoffs. It was by about a game or two where it was almost FlyQuest not even in the top 6. So now the team's looking at it like, all right, you know, we have our special picks, but let's not go too crazy on these things. And you can see they definitely can play meta.
Good to see them still valuing that adaptation as well and coming back very strong. We'll see if they can finish it out, though. A lot of vision here around the Baron. They're working up, and Phoenix1 definitely feeling this pressure, trying to get some back.
Yep. Phoenix1 themselves, a team who used the versatility of a lot of champions experimenting to get themselves where they are today. A lot of it coming from Zig in the top lane on Rumble again. Ryu and Arrow able to put up a lot of power with the junglers providing what the team needed when they needed it.
I was looking at the build for Altec here. Defensive item looks like it'll be a frozen mallet straight out of a page of Reckless's book. It's a great item to have if you want to be a little bit more defensive. Try to stay alive. 700 HP is nothing to really just, shake a stick at. It's great.
I'll shake a stick at. Balls looking for the side engage, but he also meets Zig at the same time. Hook onto Shady. Wild growth immediately in defense, and that could be Shady going down with one more hit. That's the living artillery to make it happen. And now they follow through the fight. High gets to the back, and that could be Arrow going down. Inori taking just about the same amount of HP. And now moves under the turret. Gets himself out as he gets into the brush and then away as Daisy starts leading the way in. And all of FlyQuest is limping around this fight.
Everyone except for Altec extremely low at the moment, so Kog'Maw laying down that cover fire. They split up the team of Phoenix1, but only get a single kill.
Oh, it was so close. The approach there, you could tell they were looking for something. Ryu, I mean, that's a tanky target. Inori?
That could have almost killed Inori if they wanted to tag on a second one. But Ryu and the team looking to pick up one of the
Kog'Maw, the key component of the comp here, still standing almost at full, and Altec able to get a retribution kill, punish Ryu. No summoners on that Syndra now as well.
And this Kog'Maw is going to be huge in this series. He is 50 CS up right now over Arrow. Look at this High. Looking for an engage. Can't quite do it, though. Teleport burned from balls.
That just shows you how much vision has been cleared on that side of High. They had no idea what was behind them. It was one guy coming, and now they get to go for Baron. Vision's there. It's going to be that 50.
Yeah, not only do they not clear out those wards, doesn't matter about the pink ward because the Ivern push.
Exactly, it's hidden right now.
Oh, they popped him over the wall! Oh, that's not what Inori wanted. He's able to jump out. It looks like Baron is easily going to go over to FlyQuest here. Inori's trying to stay in. Flash is not there. The jump is down.
He doesn't have a way to re-enter that pit. It's going down super slowly. And Lemon flashes back. Oh.
If the Baron bikes back, come out there.
So close.
Would have died, but FlyQuest get the Baron and no one dies in it. This is going to give them that huge pushing power. Remember this entire game almost.
See this again.
Bottom inhibitor is still exposed.
Right.
Yeah. That was a super bold call from them as well. That equalizer is kind of just stopping a little bit of an advancement there, but that's a huge use of that spell, and it's not got the payoff they want.
Yeah, actually did zone out Altec for a long time, but Hive moves in over the wall to kind of split the team up. And here, they're able to just barely retreat. Very slim margins for High, Lemonnation, Moon, all these guys just barely living. And Ryu is trying to come in on that side, but Phoenix1 unable to convert.
Yeah, Ryu almost gets a kill there with the W onto high, almost gets a kill there with the QE onto somebody else, but it's not enough. And the fact that that Rumble ultimate had been used from Zig, and it wasn't a kill, it wasn't a completely zoning ultimate for the team, and High was able to go around it, means that that call for the Baron is actually that much smarter because it's on cooldown. They know they can't actually get caught in the pit with that, and I think that's very well played from Fly to make sure that they can go for that Baron.
Now into mid, like you said, Kobe, that inhibitor is open down in the bottom, so with the map basically objective free, FlyQuest can choose which lane they want to push. Minion wave down by the river for bot lane, so it's not going to be that just yet, but they make another move in mid, and they have one more second-tier turret on the top side.
And now we're seeing all of these items come through where, I don't know how you're killing this Kog'Maw. We got the Chalice, the Athenes, we have the Redemption, the Locket, you have the Ardent Censer, you have a Frozen Mallet on him, and then you have a Knight's Vow in the top lane. Keep him safe.
Enough is enough. Build more damage on the Kog'Maw, please.
And then he gets the Quicksilver sound.
Yeah, you don't want to see a Hex Drinker next, Kobe?
They definitely have the defenses for him covered.
Looks like we may be hovering down towards that bot side. It's always very interesting when we used to see these games where the inhibitors would be opened immediately, but the teams aren't actually strong enough to go back into that situation that deep into the enemy side, so you have it wait. It's open almost all game. Now 29 minutes in, but we'll finally find a few more hits if FlyQuest can make it into the base. And 52,000 to 45,000 just about for P1 here. FlyQuest looking to use this gold advantage to crack open the base once more.
Yep, High gonna get some alone time with that inhibitor.
Yep.
And it's just a push and pull here. FlyQuest taking down P1's base.
Using that Baron buff, trying to spread him thin. I'll get that one on the bottom, and they'll probably get this mid one too, simultaneously.
Giving them the 1-2 punch without really finding any contest here. Middle inhib goes down. High may be able to step up enough, but now P1 can focus all their power. So he's going to request the rest of the team, minions as well. 2 inhibitors now as the minions start to pour into the side of P1. FlyQuest very methodical in this game.
Yeah, no hesitation from FlyQuest in game number 2. Right back to blue side. Just yoink the Kog'Maw combo here with the shielding support and the Ivern, and easily able to perform pretty much the exact same as Phoenix1 from game number 1.
And it's just a strategic dismantling of Phoenix1 in the entire map here. FlyQuest, I definitely feel like that first kill for High set them up huge. Yep. He got that 400 gold for himself. Lemonnation was able to get both summoners, and then Ryu had to play defensive, and they could constantly collapse as High started to snowball.
Key cooldowns out here. Lulu ultimate no longer available on the Phoenix1 side. And even though High used his own ultimate to get it, very low cooldown here for Talon.
Mid's about to enter bot lane. Just about it. Gromp should be in the base soon, and 3 of the members now moving forward through the jungle as Moon and High take the strength to the top side of the map. This turret not long for this world as they're about to find themselves again inside P1's base, looking for a game 2 win.
And you have about a few seconds here where Inori's running back. Now maybe you can find an engage, but I don't think you want to take it. There isn't really a great opportunity. There's super minions now on your Nexus turrets. You're going to start losing your top side of the map, and the timing has just been all off after Inori got chunked out.
Great turnaround for FlyQuest as they come into game 2, shaking off the loss. Zig putting down the equalizer here to put a go for broke fight in front of the last inhibitor turret.
And look at all those shields. They take no damage from the equalizer at all. Hit it in the brush.
Weren't able to engage it.
And it's huge, too, because also the Karma, the Mantra shield, just does so much to neglect or negate the entire equalizer. Basically, speeds you up. It's not like you're slowed, and also you take a lot of that damage. And it's basically a support, taking care of that top lane pick that was so effective for Zig previously, but here goes High in the back.
Zig back and forth, trying to draw the blades through, but he doesn't do too much damage. He says, follow me out! Lemonnation comes to try and help and resolve onto Zig. He flashes out of the situation. They're getting a few kills. One onto High. They are able to drop Ryu, though, so the mid laner damage is gone for both sides.
Altec
Here comes Altec, the triple kill. Looking for the 4th kill. He's going to get it. 200 kill for Altec coming into game 2.
He wants that last one.
Inori looks for the Nexus. Living artillery to the fountain. Will they be able to find him? The King's going to give it to him. Is it a 3rd game penta? Yes, it is. The penta kill for Altec on the Kog'Maw.
The Vancouver native gets a penta kill in game 2 to bring it back to FlyQuest.
Teamwork perseveres for FlyQuest coming through. Powering up High throughout the game and protecting Altec till the end.
What an answer from FlyQuest in game number 2. And Altec talked about how excited he was to play here in Vancouver. Gets to end the game with a penta.
Well, I think Vancouver is excited to see Altec play at this point. Both teams now 1-1. And Altec with a 7-0-0 Kog'Maw game.
Disgusting Kog'Maw play from him in this game. He dominated the lane, ends about 60 CS up. But that's also the laning phase. He had an advantage from the get-go alongside that Karma from Lemonnation. Kog'Maw definitely going to be contested for the rest of the series.
Yeah, absolutely.
He didn't even get any assists. He got the last hits on every single one, so good team play there.
Great. He's 7-0-0. Inori's 007.
Moon.
Oh, Moon. Thank you, Moon. Moon's 007. So these guys are just working together so well, and as well, Moon able to come out with a stronger game this time, taking that Ivern away.
Yeah, the Ivern definitely is crucial here, and people have been talking about it for a long time, and why the North American junglers, had not been using it for such a long stretch after jumping in after the European players. But a lot of them were voicing concerns about being counter-jungled themselves, and it seems that both the teams have come up with better strategies around protecting their Ivern, more strategies around power farming your own jungle rather than going for risky early plays and then using his power when grouping up early.
Exactly. Also, the counter ganks are very good, and the fact that they're able to stay out of kind of the river and go for some lane ganks where you just throw down the Daisy and then you start going for a siege is very powerful.
Sieges all day with Daisy. All right, we're going to check in with Freak and the analyst to see what they make of that Altec pentakill.
Thank you very much, Riv. I make good things about that. Bot lane is winning games. Love it. Perfect meta for me. Talk about every game. Everyone should play Ivern.
I mean, a big momentum swing, even at the very end. The game was mostly over as they were pushing, but the fact they got Altec the pentakill, and also that they fountain dove Inori, the guy from Vancouver as well. So the reverse on the other side, I think, could actually have an impact in the series.
I mean, mentally, I think it's pretty hype, right? Like, for Altec, you got to be riding high. He's got to feel good about this game, and I think FlyQuest as a whole really should. They played very well. But a lot of this game for me started in the draft where I think P1 kind of set themselves up for failure. I felt like their AD carry choice in Jhin did not make sense against a team, not only with the frontliner to block the shots, but shields to absorb it. The Jhin was almost completely worthless throughout the whole game, and they have no one to ever kill the frontline. Like, there's Caitlyn open, there's Lucian open, the Lulu doesn't even really boost up the Jhin. I just didn't like it at all.
It feels like the kind of thing that would have worked if they were already winning, right? If Ryu's winning mid lane like he did last time, if I'm blanking on his name, Zig's winning top lane like it was before, if Inori's winning the jungle like it was before, it's, I just need to help my carries win. I'll just slow them down and you guys do all the hard work. But this was a game where FlyQuest actually were winning the solos. They ganked for high, the Talon got ahead. And that comeback never happened.
Exactly. I definitely didn't like the Phoenix1 draft, as Isaac is mentioning, but I did like the FlyQuest draft as they were putting it together. The first pick, Ivern, and then they still were able to find a lot of balance throughout the composition. I mean, I think you mentioned during the game the total difference between Nautilus this game versus Nautilus last game, when he's actually an unkillable tank versus something that was melting like paper in game 1.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Nautilus with the shields and an AD carry who can't kill him versus, the other side of it. And I felt like this whole draft from FlyQuest was super smart. Not only that, because they get high on comfort pick with a Talon that fits in well, no one to answer him in this split push. Just the whole comp and the game was fantastic from FlyQuest.
Yeah, what's great is Kog'Maw is a magic damage bot laner. Like, his damage profile is more than 50% magic damage oftentimes, even if the Ruin King builds, so it allows him to go for physical damage mid laner. It works a lot better. Other good things we saw from FlyQuest, of course, the early to mid game shot calling, the giant base trade was super well played by them. The shot calls from high, the mechanics, the turret dive, super great from them.
Yeah, and we talked about how FlyQuest forces the other team in a quick decision, but this is a decision that I don't understand why Phoenix1 would make. You get the one turret trade, and then you recall, because at this point you can still reset. Do not race the team with the Daisy that can tank the turret, therefore keeping your minion waves alive. And then the continuation of this as well, much harder to dive a Nautilus when the Talon can collapse so quickly, which is what High does in a second.
And it's doubly tough because Jhin also kills the turrets a lot slower than the Kog'Maw, so they're forced in a situation where they feel like they need to get something more, which is, I think, what
look
really
at the difference in the minion
dive.
waves right there. There's still a cannon alive because Daisy has tanked the turret for so long. And then the dive, for the most part, does go wrong for Phoenix1. Inori ends up mostly dying to the turret. High picks up a double kill on the backside. Add that to the early ganks that he had, and suddenly High was unduelable in the side lanes, which allowed FlyQuest to scale up safely.
Yeah, when you have side lane control from High, you have this 3-man squad in the mid lane, moving around, shielding up the Kog'Maw, always threatening that siege in mid. I think that they just played it out very intelligently.
Yeah, and I thought that they played the mid game very well. Also, you saw a somewhat defensive build out of the Kog'Maw. We've been seeing that, especially across the world as well. Some will rush extra Quicksilver Sash. We saw Arrow do that last game, for example. They'll get Ninja Tabby. You saw Frozen Mallet third come out of Altec here. And the way Kog'Maw is being played right now, and he's kind of been this way for a while, he's actually more of a mid-game power spike champion. Like, you get to Ruin King, and then just don't die for like 15 minutes, and just ride your base damage and your W and whatnot. And that's how the champion kind of works. And between minutes 18 and 37, you're the best champion on the map, and you play around that. And FlyQuest did a good job of closing the game out by that time.
They really didn't. It's also kind of funny seeing how much they were building from the team. Ball's even third item, Knight's Vow for him.
Yeah.
They're building tails. They have the early Ardent Sensor on their support. Then you have Redemption, Athenes, and Locket, all from your jungler. So it's like they're building every item in the game that you can build.
6 additional items to help Kog'Maw at
12 item Kog'Maw.
minutes.
It turns out it's pretty good.
Weird. Who would have thought? So, you know, it's great. Vancouver is to some the city of glass. Well, no glass cannons here. They've tanked them up. They've given them some armor. I don't know. That was lame. I wanted to bring it out for you guys. And finally, we do have one other thing. As you brought up before, you didn't like the Jhin pick. And we have a replay that shows a Jhin ult to open a team fight that does actually 0 damage, follow it with some follow-up afterwards.
This was kind of the story of the game. This is the rank 2 Jhin ultimate into a Karma shield, into an Ivern shield. They didn't even have to burn Redemptions here to reset it, and now the ultimate's just gone.
And that's also hitting priority targets, right? That's the squishiest people you could possibly hit. And then they're able to just eventually turn around the fight. I mean, watch Ball's health in this fight. He's getting free-fired on by the carries. He's never really under any threat.
Yeah, and Balls buys time for High to get the flank on the Talon. So FlyQuest was playing this composition exactly the way they needed to. Nice management at the very end there with Moon sneaking around the backside of the fight. Everyone but Altec taking damage, protecting him very well.
Yeah, and wouldn't you wish you had Curtain Call now when everyone's at 300 HP running away? Like, that would have been the timer that maybe you look for. And I don't know if you blame Arrow for not thinking about the shield comps or what, but that would have been so much better as cleanup, but it didn't happen. You still see in this graph good damage come out of the Rumble, but not nearly as much supporting cash from the rest of P1.
Yeah, that type of Rumble damage is going to happen when you're in the laning phase a lot of times against the Nautilus, but it also is a testament to how efficient FlyQuest was with their teamfight victories with that low damage numbers, theoretically speaking, for a 33-minute win.
Yeah, and I mean, even just the comparison between their damage in Game 1 to Game 2, Nautilus does double the damage that he did in Game 1. The Rumble does, like, you know, 2/3 or a third or whatever less damage, too.
Yeah, so obviously very big improvements. Jat, your prediction's now wrong, by the way. 3-0 off the table. Azael, you've got a chance at being the king analyst now for this one. I just wanted to be confrontational. I figured I'd add some flavor to the desk.
Yeah,
we're
very dry.
Just attack my friend.
If P1 can't change something up from that draft, from that game, I think we're both going to be wrong because FlyQuest is looking very good.
Yeah, well, I just heard P1 has chosen red side again, so 3rd game in a row, same sides that everyone is on. Phoenix1 likes being red, and clearly FlyQuest likes being on blue.
Yeah, I mean, you can still mix things up for Phoenix1 if you're in the draft right there. They ended up, I think, making a few bad bets with the way they were banning. I think the fact that they banned Orion in the 2nd rotation would have been great for them to be able to last pick into Talon. Even the fact that they got rid of Ashe to then get pinched on 80 carries. Phoenix1 can adapt to the mistakes they made, even if FlyQuest tries to do the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely the case. It's going to be a fun one. So when we return, we will see if FlyQuest can carry this momentum into Game 3 or if P1's going to bounce back and take another one. Don't go anywhere. You're watching the North American LCS Spring Playoffs.